Have you ever pondered about the lineage of Jesus Christ? Imagine, if you will, a family tree branching back through the ages, peppered with familiar names from the Bible. A lineage that not only reflects the human ancestry of Jesus, but also the divine promise and prophecy of his coming. Intriguing, isn't it? How far back does it go? Who are the notable figures in this ancestral line? Well, journey with us as we delve into the fascinating family tree of Jesus Christ. The genealogy of Jesus Christ traces back to the Old Testament, establishing his lineage right from Adam. This lineage is a testament to the divine plan that was set in motion at the dawn of creation. Now let's embark on this journey through the ages, tracing the ancestral line of Jesus. Starting with Adam, the first man, we see the beginning of Jesus's lineage. As we all know, Adam was created by God himself, as detailed in Genesis, the first book of the Bible. From Adam, we proceed to his son Seth, and then to Enosh, Kenan, and Mahalalel. As we continue down the line, we encounter Enoch, the man who walked with God, as Genesis 5 verse 24 tells us. From Enoch, the lineage proceeds to Methuselah, the man known for his exceptionally long life. Next in line is Lamech, and then we meet Noah, the righteous man who found favor in the eyes of the Lord, as Genesis 6 verse 8 illustrates. From Noah, we trace the lineage through his son Shem, then to Arphaxad, Shelah, and Eber. One notable figure in this lineage is Peleg, during whose time the earth was divided, as Genesis 10 verse 25 tells us. From Peleg, we move through Ro, Serug, and Nahor before arriving at Terah. Terah had 3 sons, Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Abram, who is later renamed Abraham by God, is a pivotal figure in this lineage. He is known as the father of many nations, and it is through him that God establishes his covenant. Abraham's faith in God sets a cornerstone for the Israelite nation. His story, told in the book of Genesis, chapters 12 to 25, sets the stage for the unfolding of God's plan for humanity. That brings us to Abraham, the patriarch of the Israelite nation. His story is just the beginning of a lineage filled with faith, trials, victories, and divine intervention. This lineage forms the bedrock of the story of Jesus Christ, a story that continues to inspire and guide us today. From Abraham, the lineage continues, leading us to King David. Abraham, the great patriarch of the Israelites, is a figure of unwavering faith. His story begins in Genesis 12, where he is called by God to leave his homeland and travel to an unknown land that God would show him. From Abraham, we move to his son Isaac, a pivotal character in Genesis. Isaac, the son of the promise, is the one through whom God's covenant with Abraham is carried forward. Isaac's story is intertwined with that of his sons, Esau and Jacob, in a narrative filled with deceit and rivalry. Jacob, the younger of the twins, is the one who secures the birthright and the blessing. His name is later changed to Israel, and he becomes the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. His story unfolds in Genesis 25 to 50. From Jacob, we trace the lineage through Judah, one of his 12 sons. Judah's story is told in Genesis 38, and it's through his line that we see the lineage leading to King David. Judah's descendants include Perez, Hezron, and Ram, leading us to Jesse, the father of David. Their stories can be found in the book of Ruth and 1 Chronicles 2. And then we reach David, the shepherd boy turned king, a man after God's own heart. His story is found in the books of 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, and 1 Chronicles. David, the poet and warrior, is a key figure in Jesus' lineage, establishing a royal line through which the Messiah would come. The lineage from Abraham to David is a narrative woven with faith, promise, and the sovereignty of God. It's a story that underlines the faithfulness of God in fulfilling his promises, and it's through this lineage that we see the unfolding of God's grand plan of redemption. This lineage leads us to David, the man after God's own heart. From David, we journey towards a period of great turmoil, the Babylonian exile. This era in the history of the Israelites is marked by significant shifts in leadership and heartbreaking upheaval, but it's also a rich tapestry of faith, perseverance, and divine intervention. After David, his son Solomon takes the throne. Known for his wisdom, Solomon's reign is documented in the books of Kings and Chronicles in the Old Testament. But it's after Solomon that things start to get a little rocky. The kingdom splits into the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. Over the years, a succession of kings, some righteous, some not, lead the people. We read about these in the books of Kings and Chronicles. In the southern kingdom of Judah, we meet King Hezekiah, a pivotal figure who attempts to bring the people back to God. His story can be found in the books of Kings, Chronicles, and Isaiah. His great-grandson Josiah also makes significant religious reforms, and his story is also chronicled in Kings and Chronicles. Yet the people continue to stray from God's commandments, and this leads to the Babylonian exile. The Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar invades Jerusalem, destroys the temple, and carries the people off into exile. During this time, we meet notable figures like Daniel, whose faith in God remains unshaken despite the trials he faces in the lion's den. His story is told in the book of Daniel. We also encounter the prophet Ezekiel, who delivers God's message to the exiled Israelites. His prophecies are recorded in the book bearing his name, Ezekiel. The Babylonian exile is a time of great upheaval, but it's also a period of profound faith and resilience. The Israelites, though physically exiled, are spiritually drawn closer to God. Their stories remind us that even in the midst of chaos, God's presence is a constant guiding light. This period of exile was a major turning point in the history of the Israelites. After the exile, there was a return, a rebirth of the Israelite nation. This period of rebirth was marked by the rise and fall of many leaders, each contributing to the lineage that would eventually lead to Joseph, the husband of Mary, and the earthly father of Jesus. The first notable figure following the exile is Zerubbabel. Found in the books of Haggai and Zechariah, Zerubbabel is recognized as the governor of the Persian province of Judah. He played a significant role in the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem, setting a foundation for the future of the Israelite nation. Moving forward, we encounter Abiud, a man whose life is shrouded in mystery. His name, found within Matthew's genealogy of Jesus, bridges the gap between Zerubbabel and Eliakim. Eliakim, the son of Abiud, is yet another link in the chain. While there isn't much known about him, his presence in the lineage is crucial, connecting the past to the future. Several generations later, we meet Mathan, a man of faith and the grandfather of Joseph. Mathan's legacy is not just in his faith, but also in his family, as his lineage carries on to his son Jacob. Jacob, the father of Joseph, is a significant figure in this lineage. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jacob is mentioned as Joseph's father, marking a direct link to Jesus. His life and faith paved the way for his son Joseph to play a pivotal role in the biblical narrative. The lineage then culminates with Joseph, a humble carpenter from the lineage of David, chosen to be the earthly father of Jesus. Joseph's faith and obedience to God's will set him apart, making him the perfect guardian for the Messiah. And so we arrive at Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus. This journey through the lineage, from the return from Babylonian exile to Joseph, highlights the intricate tapestry woven by God. Each thread, each individual played a significant role in shaping the lineage of Jesus, setting the stage for the arrival of the Messiah. Joseph and Mary, the earthly parents of Jesus, play pivotal roles in this lineage. Let's delve deeper into their stories and significance. Joseph, a humble carpenter, was a righteous man of the house of David. His lineage can be traced back through the generations to Abraham, as detailed in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 1. Joseph's prominent role in the lineage of Jesus underscores the fulfillment of God's promise to Abraham and King David that their descendant would be the savior of the world. But what about Mary? Mary, a young maiden from Nazareth, was chosen by God for a divine purpose. Luke's Gospel, in its 3rd chapter, gives us a genealogical account leading up to Mary, showing her descent from King David through his son Nathan, not Solomon. This lineage, unlike Joseph's, is not a direct royal succession, but carries the bloodline of David, fulfilling the prophecy that the Messiah would be a descendant of David. Mary's role is profoundly significant. She was the one through whom the Word became flesh, as John's Gospel eloquently puts it. Chosen by God, she carried and gave birth to Jesus, the Savior of the world. Her obedience and faith are exemplary, reminding us of God's sovereignty and his plan for salvation. Moreover, Mary's lineage is crucial in that it fulfills the prophecy in Numbers chapter 24 verse 17, where it was said that a star would come out of Jacob, a scepter would rise out of Israel. Jesus, born of Mary, is that promised star, the ultimate king, the Messiah. Through the lives of Joseph and Mary, we see God's intricate plan unfolding, his promises being fulfilled, and his love for mankind being manifested. They were ordinary people chosen for an extraordinary mission. Through them, the Savior of the world came into our midst. Through Mary, the prophecy was fulfilled, and Jesus, our Savior, was born. With the birth of Jesus, the lineage finds its fulfillment. So let's dive into the most significant chapter of this lineage, the birth of Jesus. The birth of Jesus Christ marks a pivotal point in the biblical lineage. Not just another link in the chain, but rather the anchor, the cornerstone. It's in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 25, where we find the record of his birth. Born to a humble maiden, Mary, in the town of Bethlehem, his coming was not marked by grandeur but by simplicity and humility. Now, why is his birth so significant? Well, Jesus' birth is the fulfillment of numerous prophecies, the realization of God's promises made centuries before. He was the bridge, connecting the Old Testament prophecies to the New Testament's realization. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 14, it was prophesied that the virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel. This prophecy was fulfilled centuries later with the birth of Jesus. He was the Emmanuel, meaning God with us, the physical manifestation of God's love and promise to his people. Another significant prophecy about Jesus can be found in the book of Micah, chapter 5, verse 2. But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from of old, from ancient times. This too was fulfilled with Jesus' birth in Bethlehem. The birth of Jesus was not just the birth of a child, but the birth of hope, the birth of salvation. A promise made, a promise kept. His birth brought light into a world of darkness, a beacon of hope and love. It was in Jesus that the lineage of the Old Testament found its purpose and fulfillment. He was the promised Messiah, the one who would save mankind from sin and reconcile us back to God. In Jesus, the promises of God to his people were fulfilled. His birth was not just an event, but a divine intervention, a moment that changed the course of human history forever. So, what have we gleaned about Jesus' family tree from our exploration? Well, we've journeyed together from the earliest days of the Old Testament, weaving our way through the intricate tapestry of Jesus' lineage. We started with the patriarchs of faith, beginning with Abraham, the father of many nations. We saw how God's promise to Abraham carried through the generations, a thread of divine commitment that never wavered. We followed this thread to King David, a man after God's own heart, a warrior, a poet, a king. David's life was a testament to God's faithfulness. And it was through his line, the royal lineage of Judah, that the promise of a Messiah would be fulfilled. Then we navigated the turbulent times of the Babylonian exile. It was a period of great struggle, yet through it all, the lineage of Jesus remained intact. The promise of a Messiah, a Savior, provided a beacon of hope during those dark times. And oh, the joy that filled the air when the exiles returned home. This period marked a significant time in Jesus' family tree, a testament to the enduring faith of God's chosen ones. Of course, we cannot forget Joseph and Mary. Joseph, a humble carpenter, was a descendant of King David, preserving the royal lineage. And Mary, a young maiden, chosen for her faith and obedience to become the mother of Jesus. Their lives were forever altered with the birth of Jesus, the promised Messiah, the fulfillment of God's covenant with Abraham, and the embodiment of divine love. This birth was not just the birth of a baby, but the birth of hope, of peace, of salvation. Through this exploration, we've seen how God's plan unfolded over the ages. Each name in Jesus' family tree was part of this divine narrative, a testament to God's unwavering commitment to his people. In understanding Jesus' family tree, we gain a deeper appreciation of the divine plan and the fulfillment of God's promises. Each character, each story, each moment in history served a purpose, a divine orchestration leading to the birth of Jesus, our Savior. So, as we wrap up this exploration, let's remember each of us too are part of this divine narrative. We're all woven into the tapestry of God's love, and each of our stories contributes to the greater story of God's redemptive plan. In understanding Jesus' family tree, we gain a deeper appreciation of the divine plan and the fulfillment of God's promises. If you are enjoying this content, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and notification buttons. Don't forget, sharing is caring. Show you care for others by sharing this with any of your friends or family members that could benefit from this prayer as well. Stay sassy, for when the devil hears your feet touch the ground in the morning, he responds with fear. Oh no, she is awake. Stay faithful and keep shining, Sassy Faith Girl. Presented by SassyFaithGirl.com.